Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to another episode of Have You Seen? With Nick and Lance. And this week, I have asked Nick if he's seen the movie Freaky. And you said,
Well, at the time, no, because that was true at the time. But now I have seen it.
and I haven't seen it. So this is going to be a really awkward
It's
review.
super awkward. Have you seen this movie I've never seen before? It's like, no, I haven't seen that movie. Well, you should watch it and tell me how it is.
I see where I went wrong now, but no. We're gonna give our numbers of what we thought because I've been having fun doing that, like trying to guess what you're
Sure.
gonna give it. So I think that's just gonna be a continuing thing until y'all are like fucking knock it off. So
It's because, I mean, sometimes we pick movies and we're like, I really like this movie, and I think Lance will kind of like it. And I just want to talk. I want to talk to someone I like about this movie I like.
yeah,
And that's kind of our ultimatum. Is I just wanted to talk about like Josie and the Pussycats or whatever. And Lance here is like, let's do a thing. I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'll subject you to the movie.
well, what I think is best is that we just don't talk about. So you watch the movie and then we just don't talk to each other about it until the camera cuts on because we actually want genuine, real, first information. We want you to be there for like how the other person felt about it.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I'm not a writer. Because otherwise we could sit and have a conversation and I could write two things. But that doesn't. I don't like that. I like it. I like the kind of authentic people sit down, make their own kind of notes with each other, and then get together and just kind of like discuss the movie and like, hey, did you notice this stupid part or whatever?
Yeah.
And then kind of go from there.
No, you're 100% right. I think I think it lends more to the video. Y'all are probably wrong. We're probably wrong because like 8 people watch this shit.
Well, of the other things I've watched where people discuss movies, because I like listening to people talk about movies, like Red Letter Media, and kind of the Best of the Worst and like Half in the Bag series, where they've got their stuff that they kind of record and kind of have pre-planned, but then they just watch the movie and they sit down and like just talk about the movie and how good/bad it would be.
And I love those two guys too, and I feel like they might not talk too much. Like it's like you said, they have their skits that they do, but I don't feel like they talk too much about it because it's like, Rich, what did you think about this? And he's like, I liked it, and it half the time if it's a movie that the other guy didn't like, they're just like, really, and that
Yeah.
it feels like that's a real reaction.
Yeah, you mean you kind of get the expectation like for when they do Best of the Worst. They all sat down and watched the movie together, so they have some idea of like at this point in time you called it like this plot thread that was going on, or like during the screening you gave a better idea of what the movie was going to be. So they kind of have some idea of what they think of it, just not they haven't had the discussion of the movie itself yet. So that's kind of the general idea. And we've been doing predictions of whereabouts we think the other person is going to land on a scale from 0 to 10
So we're going to keep that tradition up, and
until you tell us to stop.
yeah, and even then we're probably still going to do it because if one person's like stop, we're just be like screw you. So
One person doesn't like it. So I guess in that vein, so I went into this movie kind of expecting it to be pretty good because I like this. I like the way the premise was. So and it kind of met my expectations, I think. So I'm thinking I'm going to give this movie a 7. I enjoyed watching it. No, I love it.
yeah, I felt like this would be a movie that was like right kind of
Yeah.
like yeah.
But it's so I think the original. I looked on IMDb. The original title is going to be Freaky Friday the 13th, which kind of gives you an idea of what the movie was going to be. Freaky Friday, as in a body swap movie, but then Friday the 13th, it's kind of a slasher.
That's a clever title.
I wish they kept that because just Freaky is very kind of vague, whereas Freaky Friday the 13th. I wonder if there was maybe like Disney sent it a cease and desist and like you can't use Freaky Friday in any sense of the word or we'll sue the shit out of you, and they're just like, oh, my bad, sorry.
Oh shit, mouse flexed. We got to take that off.
Yeah.
So, well, it's so I don't. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this is a Blumhouse movie,
Okay.
and they make a lot of really fun movies.
I don't think I've seen many Blumhouse movies.
So they also made Happy Death Day. I love those movies. You've seen Happy Death Day, right?
I don't believe I have.
You haven't seen Happy Death Day?
No, not yet.
Oh shit! I know what I'm about to ask you to watch. Nah, maybe not this time, but like soon.
Soon, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm definitely a lot easier because I watch movies a lot, but I don't watch a lot of movies, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you only ever played Skyrim,
Yeah.
but you played Skyrim every day. You play video games a lot, but you don't play a lot of video games. Your breadth of material is narrow. So I watch movies with some frequency. They're just the same old shit that I tend to watch, and occasionally I'll try and watch something new and weird.
Yeah.
And that's when I pull out weird stuff like The Eye and Josie and the Pussycats.
You said it wrong.
Because they didn't put a space in it.
It's all together.
And I mean, it was more common when my brother was still alive, but we would just kind of go on like streaming or to a Best Buy or whatever, and just buy stuff that looked stupid and sit down together and watch it and make fun of it. So I got the occasional bit of like, why the fuck do you own Geisha Assassin? It's like, man, I thought I was gonna make Mike watch it.
Okay. I mean, it's that makes complete and utter sense to me. Get out of the dog food. I'm sorry. Hey, get out of the dog food. You're a cat. You're not supposed to be eating the dog food.
Yeah, your cat does not care. She's into that dog food.
Yeah, well, I wish the dog was into the dog food as much as she was.
Welcome back.
Sorry for that brief pause. We have a cat who is eating the dog food, and I do not know what that's going to look like coming out the other side of her, so I had to stop that. So,
all right. So, what did you think of the movie?
Oh, and I just wanted to say real quick. So, Blumhouse is definitely a Blumhouse movie. It's produced by Jason Blum. And they make a lot of, like I said, horror movies and stuff like that. That's just like his niche. But there's a lot of really good stuff out there. Shit, did you just pull your number up? Could I have peeked at that before?
You could have.
Damn it.
It depends where you're looking at it.
I don't want to ruin it. So I give this movie, I give it a 6.
Okay. So I was close. I guessed a happy little 7.
Okay. Yeah. It could have been a 7 to me, but it's not treading any new ground. I mean,
it's a rehash of Freaky Friday and just generic slashers in general, because there's some references into it that we'll talk about once we get more spoiler here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, it's not doing anything original, but it's taking it in a little bit of a new direction.
Yeah,
so
and kind of having some fun with it, because I enjoyed Vince Vaughn's performance in this movie, where he felt odd enough and kind of playing that teenage girl that it was enjoyable to watch.
And that's why the movie got a higher mark for me, because like Vince Vaughn is Vince Vaughn in every movie. Mm-hmm. And then this one he actually got to be a teenage girl, and it was just it's just fun to watch. Yeah, it's sorry, buddy. I had to give it a 6 because it's enjoyable enough to where I did not regret watching it. As a matter of fact, I did have fun with it, but it's kind of like that movie's kind of a one and done for me.
Really? Okay. You said you watched it 3 times.
Well, I watched it the first time in the theater, and then
Okay.
it came on again here at the house one day. I don't remember why, but like we were watching it here at the house. I think somebody came over because like Amber, I think she enjoyed the movie quite a bit. So we watched it, and then the last time I think it was just on TV, and we let it run.
And now you've seen it 4 times because you watched it again for this recording.
Yeah.
So your one and done movie. It's 4 times.
Well, then I am done. If I'm 3 over, I'm done. But yeah, there's a lot to the movie that is enjoyable, but there's also at times like Vince Vaughn's character came off kind of stilted to me. The girl who's playing, I'm heading straight into spoiler territory. So yes, after the ratings, we hit spoilers.
All right. So if this is a movie you have not watched, we've given you a week to try to catch up with us. But now we're going to get into really talking in depth about the movie. So I think you've had time to reach down and go pause, or like have your phone and be like, not yet. So that seems like enough time.
Or just turn the volume way down.
And
Let it
keep-
run so we can get the view. Go watch the movie and then run it back to this time mark, which is like around the 9:41 or something. But anyways,
All right. So spoiler.
yes.
What? So the you've got Vince Vaughn is the butcher, and then you've got the teenage girl whose name, what was her name? I just watched it yesterday, and already of all the things, it's already eluding me.
The funny part was that the second you said that, I swiped off the IMDb. So she was Millie.
Millie, okay.
So you had Catherine Newton as Millie.
And I don't think I'd seen her in anything before. And I wasn't really familiar with her or her two best friends.
So she was in Detective Pikachu, Big Little Lies, nope.
Yeah.
Cock Blockers, where the movie's just blockers with a cleverly placed chicken over the word.
Yeah, so I wasn't familiar with her. I think I only knew like two actors in this movie. I mean, Vince Vaughn. And then the guy that played Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Out.
Ferris Bueller's Bay Off.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off? That's the name of the movie, right?
Yes. But I thought you were about to say Ferris Bueller's Play Off.
But
it's a better title.
So I recognized him as Stewart from Spin City, and then I'm like, is that guy was he in Spin City? And then I looked at him and he's like, oh, he's best known for being Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I'm like, I didn't know that was the same person. So I learned a thing.
Interesting.
But he was playing the kind of asshole teacher, and those were Vince Vaughn and him were the only ones I recognized.
So that was Alan Ruck as Mr. Bernardi.
And he's not a guy I'm super familiar with, given that the two movies I know about him or the things I know him from are an 80s show and an 80s movie and a 90s show.
When Cameron was in Egypt land, let my Cameron go. That is the biggest part. That's like the part I remember most about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember bits and pieces. I mean, the movie's good. It's just never one that I've been part of me, I guess.
It's okay. Like it should have been called Ferris Bueller's Day On because he was
right,
on
guys?
that.
He was on the okay.
Yeah, I don't remember why I saw that, but I thought
I
it was
don't know
funny.
either.
But anyways, yeah, it's there was a lot to enjoy about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The body switch, the fact that instead of them being like, well, I lived the day in your life, and I see what you go through, Mom.
Yeah, you're an awful piece of shit, and at the end of the movie, gun him down.
Yeah. So it was an interesting twist on the genre, but
generally in these kind of movies, I mean, the freaky movies are to kind of watch someone body switch and see like, wow, this old person's playing a teenager, isn't that so wacky? So and like that. What was it, Hot Chick or whatever it was? Oh, watch Rob Reiner his name's not Rob Reiner. What's his name? Rob Reiner's the director.
Yes.
Who's the Schneider? Rob Schneider. Watch Rob Schneider be a teenage girl.
In this movie, Rob Schneider
he's the stapler.
The stapler.
Yeah.
God.
So, and in this one, it's kind of, so isn't it funny watching Vince Vaughn be a teenage girl? But then it's also kind of a Friday the 13th style movie. So it is watch people get murdered in fun and amusing ways. And I thought that was kind of true for these. Maybe I don't know if they're the most inventive ways ever, but they were fun to me. Like when the kid was downstairs, and like in the very beginning, you get 4 people dead just to kind of set up the tone of the movie. And the kid goes downstairs and he's like, man, there's a lot of wine down here. I broke a glass. And he's like picking it up. Then like Vince Vaughn like grabs him and jams the bottle in his neck and then shatters it in his throat. And you get like all the glass shards coming through. I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah. I think that's what I like most about Blumhouse movies is I think they get really creative with like some of the horror aspects of it, but then also keep in mind that a lot of those Blumhouse movies, when you watch them, you're just like, that looked really bad. Like sometimes I think somebody walks in there like a lamp who give people gamma rays to death, and they're just like, here's $40,000 so I can make it. But I think they've been hitting lately because like Happy Death Day, great movie. Happy Death Day 2, the rare sequel that's pretty good. And then this movie, which was just like really a surprise. But like, I feel like they brought Vince Vaughn in and they went, so you're going to play a teenage girl. And he was like, nah, I just play me. And they're just like, you're going to be a psychopathic killer. But the teenage girl's in your body. And he's like, okay. I get to act like me some of the time then? And they're like, yeah. Like, there's a lot of times where he's just Vince Vaughn still. But, like, but yeah, there's a lot to love about the movie. I think one of my favorite parts of the entire thing was the carpentry shop kill.
Yeah.
Like that was
No, that was pretty good. Because I kind of liked it. It was like the first real time that he's like murdered someone else. Like he put the girl in the freezer, but that was more of like, oh no, it's the guy getting the freezer. And I don't know why it was there in the locker room. Why you have a thing that goes to like negative 300 degrees, but it's funny.
that rapidly.
Yeah, like she was an ice cube in an instant.
Oh, they did that. They did that in Jason in Space, but they did it with was it the liquid nitrogen?
Yeah, or something like that.
So yeah,
So-
been done.
So he killed her, but it wasn't like him really like getting like into murdering someone. So it was the shop teacher that kind of like disrespected him. He's like, my God, that guy's gonna die. They made him a dick so that when he got murdered, you'd be like, yeah, kill that motherfucker.
Yeah,
And
we're okay with it.
and so at first it was kind of like that kind of juxtaposition. I thought it was going to be to want to get the butcher back in his body because he starts trying to murder and he's like, no, I'm in a weak teenage girl's body, and this guy's just throwing me around like it's nothing. But because it was amusing, like the teacher like throws her off and like throws the butcher on the ground and then like starts kicking her and then he's like done. Then he kicks her like one more time. And I'm like, this guy's just done with this shit, and then just gets stabbed in the neck, and then like a guy gets stabbed in the neck, and you're watching it as like a viewer and being like, don't pull the thing out, and he pulls it out, and the blood starts squirting. I'm like, you should have left it in.
Yeah, but if somebody had that blood pump and they're just like, so you totally have to pull this out so we could just go anime blood this shit.
And then he gets slapped on the saw and just kind of split down the middle. It was
That's
fun.
good
It was
stuff.
fun.
But like my other favorite part of that movie, like, I mean it's kind of like Face Off, right? I guess that would be like the closest thing that I can almost approximate it to.
Sure, and
Like-
just that kind of normal person,
Different face, but they're still doing their wacky character with just like a different face.
Yeah,
Because like I the part where like they had the butcher tied up in the teenage girl's body, and she was like trying to talk to the boyfriend and like letting her go, and she was like begging like, please just let me go, it's so crazy. And the guy and like Vince Vaughn's like, Booger, look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Ignore her. Shut up, bitch. Look at her. Look at me. You know, like that whole scene was just great. And then finally she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, and then just gets up and starts destroying. Like that whole part was like, it was just gold.
Yeah.
But like, I don't feel like they did anything too originally at the end. You know that she's gonna get back in her body and he's gonna go back to his body.
I mean, sure. I mean, at the end of movies, do you want it to go sour? Because I mean, it's a horror comedy. At the end, you kind of want the status quo to be returned, because once things go bad, you might just be like, well, none of the movie sucked because they stabbed the people. Like at the end of the movie when they were coming back for the one last, he's going in to get her one last time, and I'm like, I really hope they don't kill her sister, because there was a cop. 'Cause I liked her, and I'm like, when she was like, is that you? I was like, oh, if she's in the like and she's already stabbed to death, I'm gonna be sad. I wanted the family to be okay.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but like, I feel like there's a shortage of movies where the bad guy wins. Like,
There is, but I think there is for a reason.
it's just sometimes it's fun to
Sometimes.
watch evil win. You know, like it's just subvert my expectations by giving me where the good guys don't always fucking win.
But
Because
maybe
like
not.
we live in a world where the bad guys are constantly fucking winning.
And that's why you want movies that where the bad guys don't win for once.
I guess it's like you get out of the movie and you're like, oh man, I thought that T-Rex was gonna eat everybody, but whew, the humans survived. And then you get back out of the theater and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. We're literally in the world where fucking T-Rexes are going crazy right now. But yeah, I honestly I don't think I'll ever watch the movie again. I know
No.
Amber really likes it. She had a good time with it, and yes, it had a couple of creative kills. And Vince Vaughn he's just great. But like, I don't know, there wasn't enough there that just makes me really kind of like enjoy watching it. And I know that a 6 is probably, I mean, it. When I'm talking about it, I'm thinking that I'm like starting to edge towards 5 and stuff like that. But
Really?
yeah, like, but I'm staying where I am. I'm staying at 6. But
But I mean, also, if you've watched a movie that you think of as a 6 like 4 times, you've gotten your mileage out of it, I think.
yeah, but it went from, you know, new old hat to hat, and now I'm just meh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Whereas I don't really watch a whole lot of like horror movies, and especially slasher movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for the most part, it's stuff that maybe I've seen before in some regard, but it's newish enough to me that I'm not fully into all the tropes. I guess maybe I don't know, but even still, I mean, it's a comedy movie, so all the tropes are still kind of intact.
I would say the one thing I really did like about the movie was that the butcher was like strong, like almost like ridiculously Jason Voorhees like strong. And then once he gets put in the girl's body, it's not about being strong anymore. Now he's fast, and fucking like
he's got to be clever, let people's guard down because he's just a teenage girl.
Yeah, he can't just like brute force his way through like all the situations. Now he has to like kind of set it up a little bit. But like I guess one of the parts that kind of took me out of it in the beginning was just like you see him and he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. You're wondering if he's a mute, and like he's just because he's just
like when he wakes up
mugging his way through everything.
When he wakes up in the morning and he's just kind of like staring at everything.
Yeah, and like it's like he's completely disassociated from everything. I guess it's from living alone in a warehouse.
Being a psychotic murder person.
Yeah, and then like next thing you know, he's having breakfast with like his fucking family and shit like that, and it's like he immediately kind of slips into that mantle, and then I guess he learned throughout the course of a day on how to be a convincing enough teenage girl to get by and start murdering people. That was a little weird for me, but like him as the murderer, as the butcher, like talking his way into his friend's good graces, like that whole thing was just great.
Yeah.
But then like once that's over, there just wasn't a lot to it. Like I think my other favorite part of that movie was the bully that was constantly fucking with her.
It was always
like scaring her and shit. And then she like, you knew the second that she ran into him that she was going to get her comeuppance. He was going to get his comeuppance.
It was in the restroom or whatever when like she and Vince Vaughn's body was kind of like sitting down, and the guy's like, "Hurry up, I got to take a shit." And then you just see him stand up over the stall door.
He's like, "Oh, it's gonna be good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry."
And then he uses that supernatural strength to like jack that kid up onto the fucking wall.
And kind of, you don't like this, do you?
yeah. See how this makes you feel, and then he pisses himself. It's like, hey, did you pee yourself? But yeah, like it's good. It's just, it's to me, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said like I watched it 4 times now.
You've got your money.
I've gotten to the point where I've gotten to the points where the parts that you really laugh at are just not amusing. But it's weird for me to say because I think you brought up the point in a different movie. It's like if you like it, if it's a thing you like, you'll find something redeeming every single time you watch it.
I mean, I could watch Josie and the Pussycats like a lot and still enjoy it and still laugh at the same stupid shit I've laughed at before. But that's just because that's different. That movie is more than just like a movie I kind of liked. That's a part of my personality, kind of.
Yeah, but
whereas like having to rewatch 5s and 6s, maybe you're like, okay, I'm done with it now.
Well, I mean, honestly, I threw you a bone with Freaky because like I was trying to think of like good movies, and like what led me to Freaky was there's a movie I watched a long time ago called Young Again, and it had like George Burns in it. But then like I mentioned it to somebody where I was like, I'm thinking about making him watch Young Again with George Burns. It's a body swap movie where the old guy swaps with his young teenage grandson, and then like the grandson goes into the old man's body and he's like in a coma. So it's like they completely remove the.
You only get one side of the story.
Yeah, the old man acting like, hey, let's go skateboarding, because you're not going to get George Burns to go and do any of that shit, because the man was like 90 something when the movie was made. But then you have like the young guy acting like an old guy, and I thought about that, and a friend of mine was like, you are going to make him watch something that nobody is going to search for. All of your friends will watch this video. No one outside of that will watch this video, and it's like, okay, let's find something a little bit more updated.
And it's just kind of something that's a bit of a generic soda brand. That's a bit of a taste or a bit of a twist on the kind of body swap style movies. Where I mean, Freaky Friday's been done 4 times, and it's all the mother swapping with the daughter or whatever, and it's just kind of generic. There's a couple other ones where you could just do not necessarily full-on body swap, but you could do like Trading Places, where you've got like now their entire lives are completely switched, and isn't that super interesting? And we've seen those movies, and like if you had me sit down and watch one, I think I've only watched one of the Freaky Fridays, and you had me sit down and watch it, I would have been like, yeah, I'd never seen it before, but at the same time, I'd seen it before. Whereas at least this one has enough kind of done to it, because you take something that kind of like with Tucker and Dale versus Evil, you take something and then just add in kind of the little comedic aspect to it, and it takes it somewhere different, and you can appreciate that. And we're just gonna have to talk about Tucker and Dale versus Evil at some point in time, just because I want to talk about it.
What are we gonna call that one?
I don't know. We'll find something.
How about we just like it?
We just like it.
Yeah, because there's like a ton of movies that I'm pretty sure both of us have seen that, you know, we just fucking like it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's like worth a rewatch.
Maybe.
You know.
We've unfortunately already both seen Alita, so we can't do it in this style format. But I just want to talk about Alita Battle Angel because I like that movie too.
So I had a huge argument, not really an argument, but a spirited debate with James about that movie. And like his whole thing was, I can't get over the eyes.
It's hard, but I could get it. I hated the eyes, but I managed to get over it.
Her eyes are enormous in the comic.
It's an anime, and anime characters if you want to make a character look innocent, since you can't really emote with that style, you give them big ass eyes because you can look in the eyes and see the emotion. It is a style of the genre in which they're going for. If you transport it to real life, make her look like a real person because she's just supposed to look like a teenage girl, not like some sort of robotic alien thing necessarily. You look at her face; she looks supposed to look very, very human.
It was an artistic choice. But I mean, personally, I dug it. I thought it looked good. I don't remember if when they did, and this is a little spoilery, but I'll keep it as vague as possible. When they did some of the flashbacks of the other of her types, did they have big ass eyes too?
Yeah,
So,
it was meant to be the whatevers of it. So I mean, it's kind of like all the people from this place. They're all, essentially, I think they're just brains in a box. So you could really look like whatever you want. So the big eye thing is fine. I just didn't agree with it stylistically, I guess. Like if you're going to make a DBZ movie like Dragon Ball Evolution and just give everyone the big eyes, or give all the female characters the big eyes, because in anime women have big eyes. That's just how they're drawn.
Well, it's like you said, every good person has gigantic eyes, and every evil person has squinty little angled eyes.
It's just when you're drawing like little panels that are like this big, you need to get the emotion across on someone's face in a still image. And if you can do that all with like the windows of the eyes to the windows to the face. The eyes are the windows to the face.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what that's a reference to. Do you remember?
Say with the nose. The nose is the open window of the face, but
What's the window?
The eyes are the windows of the soul.
Well, there's a reference. It's a reference to something. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But it was someone said that the eyes are the windows to the face, and I'm like, that's funny. And it might be like a Simpsons or a Family Guy joke or something stupid like that. But it's someone saying the wrong thing, and I think that's amusing. Kind of like when I say the I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
No.
And I'm all out of ass.
I'm here
to chew ass and kick bubble gum, and I'm all out of ass.
I got some gum.
I give a kick. Let's just kind of take the thing that everyone knows and just kind of say it wrong because it's funny.
Oh, Biff Tanning it. Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Get out of here. It's a leaf, you idiot.
It's a leaf, you moron. You've been sounding like an idiot for 20 years. But yeah, I just didn't want you to watch something that nobody would watch.
Yeah. So, and and it's at least very easily viewable on HBO Max, which we need to start doing some, like, I throw Geisha Assassin at you and be like, watch this fucking movie. But if you Google it, apparently, like, it's on YouTube as someone just posted the entire movie. So I'm like,
Okay.
It's not the best quality, but if you really wanted to watch Geisha Assassin, you could go on YouTube and look it up and be like, oh, there it is.
Anything for free, you're not going to get high quality, so.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah.
We definitely need movies that people have seen, but also I want to throw off my stupid obscure movies. Like, I want to talk about Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, and we're going to at some point in time, and no one knows what the hell that is except for Tim and Amber, maybe, because we've made Amber watch it too.
And Shane, God knows we've quoted enough around him.
I don't think Shane knows what. I don't think Shane's ever seen the movie. I don't know if he knows what the hell we're talking about.
Yes, but every time we do I Sleep Now, he knows what we're talking about. So, or Rower.
Give the atmospherium to the skeleton.
or my favorite. Tip 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 tip.
And
Rower.
Have you ever seen a bear do that? Horribly mutilate? In my time, I've seen bears do things even a bear wouldn't do. Good movie.
It's so camp. It's hilarious. It's wonderful. But yeah, that's. I think we should start like challenging each other on movies that we've definitely seen together, and just give them another rewatch. Or I guess more of the point of that channel would be like movies that we didn't really enjoy that maybe we just missed something the first time through, or we didn't connect with it the first time through.
Maybe. So, I mean, at some point in time, we'll start going back over some of our old favorites just so we can talk about them.
Yeah.
And maybe pull some in some other people too if they're so interested and inclined.
That's kind of like what we're doing here, but it's like we really kind of because you've got a not maybe as wide of a palette of like movies you've watched as I have, and you've got a more dialed in palette on some of the movies that you like that you've been exposing me to that I've been loving so far. But it's like we have to kind of search to find something that the other person hasn't watched to make this work. But like I know there's a ton of movies that we've both seen where it's like
that's how we went to the theater to see it together, and now it's not really a co-video anymore because it's not like new.
Yeah,
it's not new because it's not out in theaters. So we're playing around with formats. That's what our old school versus new school is, or so we could talk about Let the Right One In and Let Me In Again because we just like those movies.
Oh God!
And we've got another one coming up next month. Both movies I think I've only seen one of those movies before, but that's next month.
Do you want to give them a
little preview? No, you get no nut dangling from me.
I know what it is.
You have to tune in next month for the next episode of Old School or New School.
Yeah, but is there anything else you wish to broach about Freaky?
So there's a couple things I thought was kind of cool. Like you're going through the house at the beginning, and you see that wall of masks, and one of them's missing. And then when he's walking around, it looks like he's wearing a hockey mask like Jason, and he's kind of he's doing the power murder walk like Jason, and just kind of super strong, kind of like Jason. And then later on in the movie, when Haley is in his body, and they go to the mall to be like, here, put on this mask, and it's like, who the fuck is this guy or whatever. But now she's walking around with the kind of Michael Myers wearing the silly Halloween rubber mask. So they've kind of just called back to some other horror movies and stuff like that. And like there's some lines in it that were funny, like when she was with the football players and trying to get them all to go to the old mill so she could go there and kill him. And the guy's like grabbing her ass and she's like, you make my pussy drier than sandpaper.
Yeah, that was a good part.
And after she walks away, he's like, oh, she wants me.
If I have to be 100% honest with you, I watched the movie when the movie first came out. And then we watched it again here at the house. And I watched it this week. But like it was between taking care of the baby and doing some work at home.
Yeah, so mildly distracted.
So I was in and out, and maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it as much this particular watch through, because maybe I was walking away from like the parts that I really enjoyed. But like I know by the end of the movie it was just kind of like, okay,
yeah,
she gets back in the body. Let's
hurry up.
Yeah.
I gotta get the baby to bed.
Yeah, and then I just want to like lay in the chair and sleep, or at least play some more Horizon. So it's there's probably multiple factors that made me give it as low as a rating.
But then there's it's one of those. It's a movie you kind of like, and now you're watching it when you're distracted, or it's not one that you're like. A lot of the times when I get like a movie that's a 5 or a 6, I'll go back and watch them again sometimes. But I would have to be like, man, I've been thinking about this movie. I really want to go back and watch it again and have it like in mind that like. I want to see this movie again. Then I go into it with the kind of mental, process of I'm sitting down to watch this movie again.
Right.
Whereas I think this time was like, well, Nick's watching the movie and I have to watch the movie too, so I can talk about it a bit more intelligently. So it's not necessarily the right word.
In depth.
In depth or accurately, I think is probably the word I'm looking for.
The what usually gets me to watch like a 5 over again is if I'm like talking about the movie with somebody and they're just like, what about this thing? And it's like, you've given me something that I didn't even consider the first time through. So let me go back and watch it with,
with a new perspective or some new insight or something like that.
Yeah, because like I'm human, so I will walk into movies with a certain perception or like a certain expectation.
Everyone brings their own baggage to movies.
Yeah, and like the Batman. I think you should watch The Batman.
And I will, when it's on HBO Max, probably.
Yeah, so be there for our fucking super fresh version of The Batman. Because I'm not going to let any of my stuff go here. I just think that it is, whether it's good or it's bad, I think it's worth a watch. But, yeah, sometimes it's usually like someone will bring something new to the conversation as far as like, what did you think about this part, or what they were trying to say by like this scene? And it's like that totally got by me. So like let me go back and just watch one more time and see if I can like watch it from this person's perspective who's like really pumped up about it. And maybe it's just I went into it and like that day I had a bad day, blew out a sneaker, dog pissed in my shoe. For whatever reason, just kind of put me in a bad mood. But
so that means one day I'll have to go back and rewatch The Eye, see if you can see it through my eyes.
That'd be so weird. It's like I'm staring at the camera and then I look at the laptop and I'm like, who's that sitting beside you?
That's you.
No. And I pull up a picture of Nicolas Cage doing that.
That's me. No, Lance, that's never been you.
Oh, well.
All right. So, I mean, I think
No, I'm sad.
I think there's not really much necessarily more in depth about the movie. I mean, it's a comedy horror. I think it's funny enough that you could watch it once and get something out of it.
Yeah, it's the first time you're probably gonna laugh pretty good, but like after that initial like is through, it's not gonna do anything that's really gonna tickle the balls or the bean. So like it's just give it a go. Watch it with friends. Like
Yeah, I think that'll make it better. A lot of these kind of slasher movies tend to be better with an audience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just sitting alone in a room watching a guy watching poor effects of someone get stabbed through the chest or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the kills in this movie were fun. What you want out of a slasher movie. I don't want to go watch a slasher movie and have it be very in depth, traumatizing, realistic murders, because that just makes me feel bad. Like that thing in Saving Private Ryan, where they're up on the clock tower and the guy's like they're fighting with a knife, and then it's just kind of that slow murder, and you just feel really bad because it's like realistic, and like I don't want realistic, I want silly, I want a wine bottle in the mouth and shattering, not the fight for life knife fight.
Why did you have to bring that part up? That's like that is one of the most uncomfortable parts for me. Just I've never gotten stabbed like that before. I'm not going to be like, oh, I relived some shit. Like, but like,
it's visceral.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot of what it seems like, because you go from like hating each other and trying to kill each other, and then finally you wind up on the wrong side of the knife, and that thing's fucking fallen, and I'm like, but that the part where he's like, wait, like he's trying to do the timeout, and like,
Yeah.
But even worse than that is when that soldier walks by the dude who could have fucking stopped it, and you're just like, I want to kill that motherfucker so bad. God, that.
But so there's the kind of distinction between slasher movies I enjoy and just like the more.
You just ruined my night, man. I fucking hate that part so much.
But that perfectly illustrates my point of like what I want out of a slasher movie is goofy, and that kind of like the girl's running across and he grabs her by the shoulders and like picks her up and puts her on a knife on the little spear that's already in the wall. I want stupid shit, not like that visceral sort of like, oh my god, don't stop. It's too real. I don't want real.
Yeah, oh god. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight, man. Oh god, I fucking hate that part so much. But as a director,
great fucking movie.
Yeah, as a director and as someone who like makes stuff, you want people to feel something, and
that's how you make people feel shit.
Oh my god, dude! I remember watching that in the theater. I was watching that with my father, and like that whole part's happening, and I remember my dad was like white knuckling the seat watching that part, and I'm just like.
Yeah.
And in the back of your mind, you're just like, USA. Like, he'll turn it around. He'll
do it. He'll do it.
He'll get the German, and then like, no, he gets aced, and then like that dude like, he just walks by the fucking coward, just looks at him, and he's so pitiful. The guy doesn't even put the fucking bullet in him or take the knife to him. He just pimps right the fuck off. And you're supposed to feel better about it. That's spoiler territory. I'm gonna stop talking about it. But
it's Saving Private Ryan. Good fucking movie.
Oh my god.
But it'll make you feel shit.
God, that movie is a punch to the fucking emotions, like every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's also funny. Like it has some funny parts into it. Like wasn't that it's Nathan Fillion in it, right?
He is in it, yes.
Yeah, where like they find like
he's there as Private Ryan.
Like
James Ryan, is that what his name was? But he's James, different middle initial Ryan.
And they find him, and but like the whole part where it's like, my brother's okay. Like
it's like, oh, my brothers are dead.
Oh no, I haven't seen him. There's John and Luke, and they're like, no,
that's not. It's
the
like,
wrong names.
It's like my 8-year-old brother or whatever. It's like, no, wrong Private Ryan.
Yeah, they died in line of service. It can't be my brother. My youngest brother's 8 years old. Wrong Ryan. So they're okay. Like, Nathan Fillion is fucking awesome in everything.
That's like one of his first things that I'd ever seen him in before I knew who he was.
Yeah.
And then I went back and watched it. And I'm like, oh, fucking Nathan Fillion. And he's even playing the titular-ish character. Titular-ish.
Yeah.
The name adjacent character.
It,
And it's funny. Good. It's got funny bits, and then it will make you feel shit.
yeah, it's
It's mostly going to make you feel shit.
oh god, like every single time you're just like, oh, then like it's like, oh, okay, well they're happy now. Oh god, it's bad again. Okay, it's a little bit better, and then you get to the knife scene and you're just like, please make it stop. I am so uncomfortable right now.
But so, I mean, I bring that up as kind of like, you've got some of the slasher movies where they're just a bit more realistic. I think I've only seen like one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and it was just a bit too like visceral for me and not as goofy. Whereas like when you watch some of the Friday the 13th movies, there was one where we went to watch like the remake of it or whatever, and the kid's like running to that shed and he gets like an axe thrown at him and it like hits him in the face or something, and it's kind of funny. Because it's not super realistic or anything like that. Or like the Jason movies where he's hiding like under the bed and they're like banging on the bed and he just spears through both of them. It's stupid. I like that stupid shit. Not the visceral realistic. Makes you feel like kind of real. Like I don't like that.
I like creeping. Like it's so if you go back and watch that original, I think it's the original Friday the 13th movie. It has a shot where like the power's out in the cabin and like instead of him just like stalking around outside the windows or anything like that, there's a part where like the lightning flashes and he's fucking standing in the corner. And the girl's like walking around like, hey, I gotta find the fucking breaker box. Like I like the movies where you get the hint that there's like immediate fucking danger but the other person's oblivious, because that creates a lot of tension if they shoot the movie right. But yeah,
so the building of tension's good, but then there's also the fun, goofy beating a woman in a sleeping bag with another woman in a sleeping bag.
Ow! Oh my god, this is so uncomfortable. Yeah, that part was fucking hilarious because I just love. He's like slam, slam, and they're still talking. He's like, "The fuck, man." That part was pure gold. I think was that
Jason X.
Jason X. Okay, that's another bad movie, but that part, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think one of the things that I have a problem with this movie is while some of the kills are creative, it's almost like watching Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, kind of like the Acme smash. Like it's just like the murder comes at you hard and fast. There's usually like a clever quip or a clever setup, but then like the murder scene like just hits you in the face so fucking hard. It's almost like dropping the piano or the vault on the Coyote. Where it's not super original, it's just more kind of like it stuns you for a second. But I like it when you get creative. I like it when you can make me feel stuff. And these movies, they don't scare me.
No,
they're amusing.
Yeah,
but like they don't. It's for a scary movie. It's not very scary, and I think that's why I have to put it in around 6. It's amusing. It's fun to watch.
There's stuff in it. That's good.
But it's mainly like the jokes and like the clever stuff is what makes me laugh. But it's scary.
No, not really. It's not really scary, and I would agree to that, which is probably fine. It's like I don't really like being super scared all that often, which I don't usually get super scared for movies.
Well, you're totally going to feed these words back to me because eventually I'm going to make you watch a movie that I was talking about earlier that I fucking love, and it's not scary, but it's a great fucking movie.
Well, I don't watch horror movies necessarily be scared either, because I mean a lot of them just aren't that scary. I mean, I like the atmosphere, kind of like building up the tension is kind of like what builds up stuff, and not a lot of movies necessarily do that.
Well, it's,
at least that I watch. I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
movies.
I'm sure I'm missing out.
Most horror movies rely on jump scares, and jump scares is like the cheapest.
I hate jump scares, especially like the music jump scares. Like when it's just kind of like it flashes to an image, and sure that maybe the image does a thing, but then they do that sting, and it just kind of makes you jump anyway because it's just kind of like loud music, and you're like, ah, fuck it, my ears, stop it.
No, it's supposed to be the combination of the both that like scares you, but it's like usually it's like you said, you get that THX moment. Yeah. The audience is now deaf. Oh, and there's something happening on the screen as well. But yeah, if you do a good horror movie, like you can create that tension. And I'm trying to think of a good example for like a great horror movie, but like it's late.
I'll just go to The Grudge or whatever, where you've kind of got like there's something weird going on in the attic, and like Yumi or whatever her name is just kind of goes up there with a little lighter and looking around, and then like as the light passes by, you just see Kayako's face
in the background,
and then she like turns, looks at it, just like her lunch. That's good.
I have got to go.
Or just like also in The Grudge when the sister is going up in the elevator, and every floor she passes, you see Toshio, and then it goes up to the next floor, and he's there, and then he's staring like in the window. And she goes, "That's creepy."
But the best part about that is that she doesn't see him.
She doesn't see it.
So the audience sees it
audience
coming
sees
from a mile away, and the heroine or whoever is just like doo 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 doo. Like that is good tension.
Yeah.
You know.
Or like she gets the call, and it's her brother, and it's like, "Hey, what floor do you live on again?" She's like, "Oh, I'm up here," and then the doorbell is like immediate, or the knock on the door is immediate. And it's like I like the ghost that has to call you up and be like, "Hey, what house are you in? I need to come haunt you real quick."
So I don't even know. Yes, but it's almost like I'm gonna really fuck with this bitch, and she, like I'm gonna hurry up, shrimp her ass, and it's like, which apartment do you live in again? I live in 13B. No way, that's the shrimp. Like it. Yeah, I think it was mainly just mind games, and you gotta respect a good ghost who's like, I really want to play with my fucking food before I kill it.
It's like, I'm really angry. I really want to I want to piss get at these people
Let's
first.
stoke those fear furnaces for a few minutes, but yeah.
Good stuff.
But I'm tapped out on Freaky.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
Which means just there's one more question. Hey, Lance. Have you seen Bedazzled? The one with Elizabeth Hurley and Brendan Fraser.
No, but it's one I have been meaning to see.
Well, good news,
Yay!
because that's what's on for next week.
You can't really miss with Brendan Fraser. He does a lot of good movies, so I feel like this is you being nice.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, again, I don't want to tell you what I think. But I mean, I kind of miss Brendan Fraser.
Me too.
He needs to come back in more stuff. I mean, there's some stuff in it that he's in that I wasn't really a big fan of, like Encino Man. But that's mainly because it also had Pauly Shore. And Pauly Shore is very 90s, and if you try to watch him out of the 90s, he's going to annoy the piss out of you.
Yeah.
Because he overstayed his welcome in being the exact same character of a person.
Oh, woo, woo.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucking Biodoom or whatever. Like
At that point in time, it was great, but now
and I don't know why it was great.
it was different. It was unusual. I mean, it wasn't.
He was a character,
Yeah, it wasn't normal.
but then he was always the same character.
But he's lovable, weird. Yeah. So he's cute. He's adorable.
All right, so I guess join us next week for Bedazzled.
Bedazzle.
You've got yourself a whole week to watch Bedazzled and enjoy it along with us.
Yes.
And know that maybe it'll be spoilery from the top. I don't know.
I hope it's good. But like I said, Elizabeth Hurley, Brendan Fraser, sounds like a good time to me. So.
All right.
You want to go ahead and predict what I'm going to give it now?
I'll save it for next time.
Okay.
All right. Well, join us next time for more Have You Seen? And stay tuned for some of the fun stuff we got coming up in April.
Oh, man. We got an action-packed April for you.
I think we got like 2 holidays planned, at least.
Yeah. So are we still doing Arbor Day?
I think so. We got an Arbor Day movie, and we've got because Easter's in that movie, right?
Yes.
I think we want to do Shaun of the Dead for Easter.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find a reason to talk about Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. All right. So until next time, he's been
Nick.
And I've been
Lance.
Yeah. I was trying to think of something clever, but
You paused like it was my turn to say it.
it's late.
It is late. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.